This is Short Hammer. It is the 22nd of November, 2020, and this is Trading Zones. We're starting out with the MES, and what we're looking at is the market's already opened. We have a bounce from the 42 area, and you can see, right? Let's go back to I think this is the 19th, but either way, look at these bottoms. This is on the 4 hour. We're not getting any bearish advancement below this 35.42 area. So each time we've gone down there, the buyers have picked it back up. Buyers have picked it back up. Buyers have picked it back up. Where's the surprise? Right? The surprise would have been if the buyers didn't pick us up in the 35.40s and we spill down into the 35.30s. Is that possible? Yes, but it didn't happen yet. So right now we're up against the 35.65 area where we have a line. If we hopscotch this and we get a squeeze here, there is a potential to hit the 35.87s. So we'll see how this shakes out. But what I'll be watching for is if we cannot get above the 35.60s altogether and get a close up here near the 35.80s for squeezing 35.87s, then we may see leakage back down here into the 35.40s. So what I'm watching for, if you just want to draw a line, you technically could, of almost a box, the 35.40s by the 35.78s, 79s, those upper 70s, and wait for that to break. For me, I have a line here at the 35.87 area. So I'll be waiting for that before I'll put on a position to look for the 36.10s. But above the 35.65s, we might see a little bit of room up in the 35.70s. But beyond that, we're just in this little box that we're just going sideways here. So we'll see if we get any advancement either way. We have to clear the 40s. And so below the 35.30s, it'd be nice to get down in that area, get room down in the 35.17s, maybe lower. And if we could get over the 35.80s, get through the 87s, maybe we have room to the 36s. We'll see how that shakes out. But on the MES, to the downside, if you're looking for levels, if we get below the 35.40s, watch out for 35.34, 35.25, 34.98. To the upside, 35.87, 36.10, and what's doubtful is 36.67. We have a shortened week coming up with Thanksgiving. So be careful on your options because it could get crazy really quick and the value can tank. And also the market can go sideways if people are traveling. I'm not sure how much institutional money is going to be involved this upcoming week, especially as we get closer to the holidays. So be careful. RTY looking good. Off the 1758s, looking strong here. So what you want to see is a break above the 1806s and a squeeze back up into these 1815s. We saw this flare up here, and this was on the 9th. So what you really want to see is a buyback through that top of the 815s and for us to go super bullish and go parabolic and continue to run. For me, this is already a little bit too high, so I'll wait to see if we get a break of the 1815s. It looks strong here. It's uptrending, and it looks as if we're at least going to retest these 1806s, right? But we'll see how this shakes. But it looks really strong here. Excuse me, long weekend. So it looks really strong here, but I am not trading the Russell, but this is, I like this setup here. We'll see how this works, but this is bullish. We might get a squeeze to the top. For me, I'll wait for either a break above 1815 or a pullback around 1758 to see if the buyers are still there and if we get a little bit of leakage down to the 1740s. Next up is Amazon. So as I look at Amazon, the question you may have is, what am I looking at? What do I see? Right. So let's drag this a little bit, broaden this out. Okay. So as we look at Amazon, what we've noticed is, look at these lower wicks. We haven't really been getting any candles that are closing down at these lower levels. You see these lower wicks extending down around the 3085s, but we don't see anything closing down there, right? So what I would be looking for on Amazon, and let me see, because this is something interesting that I saw here. So on Friday, after hours, where we closed is the last time we were that low was back on the 11th of November, right? When we were breaking to the upside. That's the last time we were that low. But that what's interesting about that is the last time we saw this similar pattern. Let's see, where was it? Where was it? Where was it? I'm not seeing it now. But we had a similar pattern. I think it may be here, where we dipped. The next day we had the reversal candle right here on the 7th of October. And the market, it just took off to the upside. Just look how the market took this thing up, how the buyers just drove this thing up. So what I'll be watching for here is, don't get caught thinking that Amazon is going to sell off and jump in early. Wait for the market to open and see which direction that we're going. But look at all these lower wicks down around the 1386s, 87s, 85s, and how we came out of that, and these upper wicks around the 3140s. So you want to be careful on Amazon and look for a great setup. To the downside, we have 3068, below that 3020, 2950. So if you're looking at these dips, this wave here, we reached down to 2950s. We bought it right back up. We pulled back here. We held the 3020s right back up, but we didn't make a higher high wave here. So what this needs to do is, if we drop these 3020s, we definitely have room down to 2950. But if that cracks, we may be looking at the 2887s. So what I'm watching for on Amazon is if we get continuation to the downside, and I'll be looking for that setup intraday and seeing which way we break. If we go to, let's see, the 1 hour does look a little heavy. Look at that. But it's still, look at this line. All these areas that we've bought back up out of. Look at that, all the way across here. We're right there on that line. We need to sell through. We really need to sell through here. So we'll see, like, if you're bearish, that's what you want to see. So we'll see what happens on Amazon. But this is an interesting setup. I don't like this sort of, what's cool about this, right, is Amazon goes from, and I know I'm taking a bunch of time on Amazon, but Amazon goes from consolidation to expansion. And right now, this movement is consolidation. It's going to expand soon. And we do have Black Friday coming up and the holidays coming up. So there's going to be a lot of, I'll say, energy and action around Amazon. So this thing is going to go one way or the other. But this is interesting, just this setup. And it feels as if it's just been consolidating and going sideways. And you can see these candles here. That's how Amazon usually moves. It chooses a direction and it goes. This sideways nonsense, whenever it's doing this, a big move is coming. Keep your eye out on Amazon. Next up, Netflix. We're holding the 485s. I would like a break of the 490s so we can see if there's a run in here anywhere. I do think that there's room up to the 500s, like this 504, 507 area, but we have to see what the buyers think, right? Because let's see, it's just so many of these tickers are just stuck in the middle. And I think the reason why they're stuck in the middle is the vaccine news, right? Because Netflix is one of the WFH work from home stocks, right? And that basically COVID stocks, if you call it that. So basically, tickers that have benefited from people being home. And Netflix, if you're looking at it, when the vaccine news of the vaccine came out, we had drops. And when people sort of started to think how long it would take for those vaccines to actually be introduced, and people to be vaccinated, it's going to take time. So, right now, COVID cases are going through the roof. And, some states are pulling back and becoming more restricted. Do we expect Netflix to buy back up? And for me, I think it's possible. So I'm going to be watching this 490 area and seeing if we break that, and if we're strong to the upside, I'll be keeping my eye on the 504s. If Netflix is unable to hold this area in the 480s and we drop below the 485 area, then I'll be looking for room down to the 475s on Netflix. So it may go either way, but I'm leaning slightly more bullish on Netflix. But we'll see how the market opens up on Monday. And the thing that I'll be watching out for is there was a mention, I believe, of REGN and them getting I believe, a fast track request or certification from the FDA. I'm not 100% sure, but look up REGN. But that's another thing that's positive as far as vaccinations. So not sure how the reaction to that news, because that was post market on Friday. Not sure how the reaction to that news may affect Netflix and a few other these types of tickers. So we have to see how that may impact Netflix. So we'll see. Because if people are going back to work faster, there'll be less people home, less people watching Netflix. It should go down. So we have to see how the market reacts to that news on Monday. And also, it's a holiday trading week, so we'll see. Microsoft. So we dropped below the 213s, pull back, tested, separation to the downside. So what I want to see is bearish advancement below these wicks in the 209s. That opens up the 208, and maybe we get a roll down into the 202s. We'll see on Microsoft. This is more for me a wait and see pattern. If I had been paying attention to this rejection at the 213s, I would have been short. But since I'm not right now, I'm just waiting to see at this area if we get bought back up. So we'll see. But this is looking more bearish than not. So we'll see on Microsoft. But to the upside, if we regain the 213s, we have room to 215.84 and the 217.70 swing door area. Below that, 208s, then 202s. And I don't think that we'd have extension to the 195, but that's our lower level below the 202s, the next level. Facebook being wonderful. So we're not getting any bullish advancement above the 279s. What does that mean? That means that look out below. And this setup looks very similar to Microsoft. If we don't hold these lower wicks around the 269s, 268ish, we may have room down to 264. We have to. I'm gonna wait and see how this plays out. But I will have an eye on Facebook this week. I believe I think they said that they were getting hammered um, by, I can't remember which congressional body they were getting hammered by, but we'll see what type of pressure they're under and if this buys back up. But for me, this is sort of in the middle area where there's just nothing here for me to take a long or a short off of. And up here is a better place to get short. Down here is a better place to get long if you see the buyers stepping in and we're going kind of sideways consolidation, or if we bounce here around these 264s. So for me, this middle area, I'd have to look for an intraday setup, because where it is right now, it's more of a middle area for me, and I wouldn't take a trade in either direction. So this will just be more of a wait and see. And I'll prefer to either go back to the 279s and give me a pop over and we get bullish, then we have room up through here in the 284s or higher, or for it to drop down to the 264s. And at this level, they make a decision, either the buyer step in or the buyer step out of the way, and we get more downside into the 261s. Now CRM, this is a ticker that I mentioned last week, I believe. And what I mentioned last week was watch the break of the 255s, because that will open up room to potentially the 269s, the upper 260s. That happened. Right now, we're waiting for a pullback into the 255 area to see if the buyers step in. If so, maybe we ride back up here and we actually push up into the 269s. So just keeping an eye on CRM. Let me see, because I thought they had earnings imminent. I'll have to check when their earnings are. But this is a nice setup here. We'll see if this uptrend holds, or this temporary uptrend holds here at the 255s. We'll see where it opens if we get a dip into this area, and maybe we'll find a great intraday setup for CRM. Dollar Tree. And what are we seeing? We didn't quite get the move to the 97s that we wanted. Um, it's close. Very close. But we'll see how this shakes out. The I don't like, this pattern is kind of funky, but I did think that we would see a flip up into the 97s. We didn't quite get that yet. So I'll be keeping an eye out on Dollar Tree, because I really did think we were going to get a nice move up into the 97s. But we'll see if we are able to hold around these above this 94.69 area. This may be interesting, and I'll look for a pattern change other than this sideways action where we haven't seen a close above the 96 hole. So a break back above that. Um, just looking at the prior days, had a lot of days below that. A break back above that mm, may give us a little bit of room to the 97s. But I'll keep an eye on Dollar Tree. But this is an interesting setup. I prefer for it to for any long plays, for it to dip down into an area like like the 91s or something like that, and then we play the retracement play, a bounce play, or it pushes up here through 97.73 and potentially approaching the 101s, and we sort of faded off those levels. But where it is right now, 96 is an area where it looks like the sellers have been active. We'll see if that continues, or if we buy above that and we see candles closing above that, and then we may be bullish up into the 97.73 area. So we'll see. peek at McDonald's. Um, Earnings not too long ago, going sideways here. I don't. 213.43, that holds. Mm, Even though we're here, we don't see much bearish advancement below these 213.40s. So if we continue to hold that, I would expect a buy up into the 216.90s. We'll see if that happens, or if we get a little bit more downside down below the 213s into the 212s. But then if all we're going to look at this pattern, right? The dip, the buy back up near the 216s, the dip below the 213s, the buy back up to the 216s. This is more sideways. We had a spike, then we have a sell back through, and then we're pulling back. It's almost like a back and forth ping pong game where on all these dips down below 213s, we almost ricochet back up into the 216.90s or roughly in that area. So if you're watching McDonald's, me personally, I wait for a dip into the 212s and wait for the buyers to step in. And then I may play that up into the upper 215s into the 216s. So that may be interesting on McDonald's. Intel is just going sideways, riding the 45.50s. Um, for me, you kind of have to see. It has 44.90s. It's not super interesting. You could get long and get some pennies in here, but it's been beaten down, and it's not the first time. Look at this strong drop here. I believe that was on earnings, and then the next earnings another drop. So what that would tell me is that they're not meeting expectations, and whatever's being projected, they're not hitting those numbers. That's what it will tell me, just based on if every earnings we come around roughly around your earnings time and you're dropping. Um, I would kind of wait for on Intel. Like I wouldn't pull anything long. Like if you say, "Hey, I'll play. This is so beaten down. I'll get long into next earnings." They may miss those too. So there's just no telling. And for those that are, into the fundamentals of Intel and reading up on that are getting long, hey, there may be something there. But look at this last sell on this drop. And when it hit down here through the 44 area, the buyers did step back in. But we don't see that type of rebound yet on Intel. We don't see it yet. Look at how long these candles are. Look at how quick people were to buy this back up. Right now, we're just going sideways. So we'll see if this changes as a pattern. We get a buy up through the 47.20s, and then maybe there'll be more people interested in that at those levels. CMG, nice. Look at this. So you could almost draw a little mini uptrend here on CMG that is riding. So based on our little mini uptrend here on the 4 hour, this tells us that there's a potential we go back into the 1340s. So all these areas that we mentioned on CMG in our last video, what were we saying? That we want to get up above the 1270s and see if we can get some buyers to step in. And we are kind of pushed up into the 1290s. I'm going to keep an eye on this. It's a shortened week. You don't want to get caught in anything in a shortened week. But look at this pullback. This pullback here. We're seeing it's almost like a squeeze going on. We're seeing higher lows, but we're not seeing higher highs here. So we really do want to see a higher high wave and break through the 1340s and get a squeeze near all-time highs. So we'll see on CMG, but this is a nice little uptrend. I'm going to watch if there's a great entry or a great play that I see on this. 1296 does look strong if we can get above that, but I won't be too antsy because we didn't get above this previous wave here, right around the 1318-ish looks like. So we need to get back above there for us to have that higher high wave, and we really need to pop through the 1345s, 1348s, get through that area. And then if we're bullish above 1348, now we're talking for potential squeeze in the 1390s. Goldman Sachs. Love Goldman Sachs. And we are above this channel area that we always talk about. So looking at the setup of Goldman Sachs, I think we may see a pullback in here, but I'll watch to see what happens. Because if we look back prior to this, when we get up here around the 226s, the buyers kind of get skittish, the air gets thin, and we get a retrace. This is the first time that we've hit this area where we see strength. And so for me, this is interesting. All these areas were just candle wicks. We have candles closing up in this area and a little bit of sideways consolidation. So we have to see if this is a pattern change. So let's slide back on this chart, see what we have going on. So when was the last time we were bullish in the 226 area? Was here. And we got movement up through the 240s. Are we doing that again? Not sure. This is interesting. So let's squeeze this chart together, see what we've got. 223s. Okay. So we need to be bullish above the 226s. Or if we're below, we can still see those pullbacks. Look at this. The sells down into the 210s. Here down into the 220, lower 220s, 220.41. So yeah, I'm going to be watching to see what we're getting here on Goldman Sachs. If we get above 226 60s and we're bullish, I see bullish action above this, then I'll probably look to get long into the 230s and higher. If we can't get above the 226s, I'm gonna look to fade this down into the 220s or even lower into the 214s. So we'll see on Goldman Sachs. Let's see, Tesla. Look at that. So on Tesla, let's see if we get back over 498 and can be bullish up into the 500s or higher. If we don't, if we don't hold here and we begin to sell, I would not. Look at this. This is the breakout. Look above 466. Look at that strength. Look at the back test here, right here. So Tesla, lots of news always around Tesla. I'm going to wait on Tesla. If we break back above the 498 and I see strong bullish candles, might be long to the 518s or higher, but not going to be in a rush to get into Tesla at all. But I do like this chart. It does look a little bit strong, but I want to see if we can get over the 498s again and remain bullish. Or if we get a pullback down here around the 460s, like this 466-ish area, I want to see if the buyers are jumping right back in there to get us back above the 473s. ZM, um, from my perspective, looks a little bit bullish. We have to see if there's a reaction to the REGN vaccine news that came out. But if we hold these 434s, this 430 area here, I think we have room up into the 460s and maybe higher. But for me, this looks bullish. You could go any time frame that you want to. This sell here was vaccination related, and I'm wondering if we get another one here that's also vaccination related. We'll see. But we are above this previous high wave. So we dropped, went sideways at the 375s, bought back up to the 430s, 434-ish area, dropped back down, 375s. Buyers stepped in again, pushed us up. And then we have this little curve action here. And so what I'll be looking for is if we hold these 430s, if we see if we get a little bit of buying pressure and get a squeeze into the 460s on ZM. We'll see how that shakes out. But I still have this downtrend line. So I'm wondering if we'll be able to break through that or if we'll touch that and we'll get a pullback. So we'll see how we open on Monday. And remember, it's a shorter week. So things could get really funky. So be careful because your options, if you're trading options, could lose their value really quickly if they get it, past Wednesday, and maybe even earlier than that. It's going to be a really interesting week. So we're taking a peek at the SPY. Insanity, and I'll pop back over to 358s. We'll see if we're bullish above that and we get a squeeze through the 360s. I think this is all just super interesting. And I'll be watching this. For me, where we are right now, I just wouldn't. I can't get bearish and just short it because it's high. I want to see if we get back above the 358s. If we dip into the 351s and the buyers do not step in, now for me, I think it would be a good opportunity to get short at least the 344s on the SPY. If we get back over the 358s and we see bullish action above that and the market sentiment is positive, then we do have room to pop the 362 area and maybe even go higher than the 360, 366 area and beyond. If you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to tap the like button. And if you'd like to receive more videos like these, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Power of Pivots, where you can look forward to receiving not just content and videos from me, but content and videos from Elisa as she shows you how she utilizes her Power of Pivot script to find great pre-market, intraday, and also post-market setups, utilizing her script and her strategies. Thank you so much for your time. Please have a safe week of trading and happy Thanksgiving to those who are celebrating it this upcoming week. Thanks.